Hey guys, now we've been talking about quality of service, and we've been talking about quality of service as it's deployed on DMVPNs. Now, I don't want to leave you with the impression that it's all going to be, sunshine and rainbows. There is going to be the possibility of being asked a question with regard to configuring true QOS, true quality of service, on a DMVPN, and I want to be able to entertain that. Now, what we need to look at right now is we need to come up with a scenario. So here's the deal. I'm not going to focus on every one of my spokes. All right, let's focus on the tunnel connection between R2 and R4 and the tunnel connection between R2 and R5. Now this is our DMVPN. Now what we're going to do is we're going to call this spoke 1, and we'll call this one spoke 2. So when I say spoke 2, I'm talking about the connection between R2 and R5. When I say spoke 1, I'm talking about the connection between R2 and R4. Now, with that being said, let's come up with some true quality of service definitions. Now, first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to say I am only interested in ICMP traffic. Now, when it comes to ICMP traffic, what I want to do is I want to make certain that we do two things. I want to provide ICMP traffic with priority treatment. Now what does that mean? That means I want to put priority traffic, or I want to put ICMP traffic in my LL queue, my low latency queue, or inside the confines of my priority queue in hierarchical queuing framework. Now, that's not very difficult. All right, so all we're going to do is we're going to create a queue, and I want to provide a specific amount of restriction. So I, again, want to make this priority. So what I want to do is any ICMP traffic that's traversing from or across spoke 1, I want it to be afforded 512K of throughput. Now that's guaranteed. Now anything that I have going from spoke 2, I want to give it 256K. So those are priorities. But I also said I wanted to shape. So let's go through here. On spoke 1, and I'm looking at my lab here just to make sure that I get everything right. What I want to do is on spoke 1, I want to actually shape it. I want to shape it to 2 million. So anything above 2 million, I want to actually shape it. I don't want to police it, I want to shape it. Now that is going to also imply the fact that I want to do this on average. Okay? Now we got the on spoke 2. When it comes to spoke 2, I want to actually shape it to 1 million bytes. Okay? Now how will we do this? Well, first of all, we're going to engage hierarchical queuing framework, otherwise called in version 4 MQC. Let's take a look at it and see exactly what it is we need to be able to do to make all of this come to fruition. Now, first of all, I'm going to start with my configuration on my hub. Now, in the confines of the hub, what I need to first of all do is I need to match that class of traffic. So I'm going to say class map, and I want to match ping. So we'll say ping. Actually, no, we'll say ICMP, since that's what we called it. And I'm going to say match protocol ping. So it's going to be my ping traffic. Now notice it didn't go through any real thinking processes at this point. Now with that done, I'm finished with regard to classifying my traffic. Now what I want to be able to do is, based on that classification, I can do things like marking, or I can go ahead and apply my quality of service mechanisms for my tunnel. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply my quality of service mechanisms. So I need to build some policies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say policy map, and I'm going to say this is a child policy. So in other words, I'm going to make reference to this policy inside of another policy, which we'll call parent. Now I'm going to say this is going to be the child's policy for spoke 1. So that's going to be the link between R2 and R4. Now in here, what do? I say anything that matches class ICMP. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to assign this priority. So we said on spoke 1, we said on spoke 1, on spoke 1 we wanted it to be 512. So how do we do that? Well, we type priority 512. Ta-da, we're done. All right. Now, let's go ahead and make the other policy. Because remember, I wanted to have two different ones of these. So exit. So let's say policy map child spoke to. And what am I going to do? I'm going to say class ICMP. And I'm going to say priority 256, matching the other element that we described here. So what we've done is we've created our priority queues. Well, we've created a policy that allows us to be able to create those queues. But the problem now is that we still need to shape. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a policy that's going to shape these links to the designated values. So 2 meg, 1 meg. Inside the queue, we want to make certain any ICMP traffic that's applied is going to be, give me 1 second here. Any traffic that's inside there, we're going to apply this priority to. So in other words, what we're going to do is we're going to begin thinking about that concept of the parent policy. Let's do that. So when it comes to the parent policy, we set it up like this. So we say policy map. And what I'm going to say is now parent. And this is going to be the parent for spoke 1. So the link between R2 and R4. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, I want to do all of my traffic. So what I'll do is instead of citing a specific queue, I'm going to use the class default queue, because remember, that's our catch-all. So what I'll do is I'll say class dash default inside here. Now all I got to do is I got to do my applications. So what I'll do is I'm going to simply say shape, and I said we would shape average. Now we'll have, in the quality of service mechanisms, we lecture on what the values are, but just suffice it to say I want both of these shaped based on shaping average statistics. So again, I'll just write it here, average. All right? So now with that done, let's go ahead and complete the process. So this is the link to spoke 1, and we said we wanted spoke 1 to be 2 megs. Now, I want to point out an efficiency mechanism here in the confines of 15 code. Notice now, instead of having to come in here and say 1000, I have the capability of saying 2 meg. I could even come up here and use context-sensitive help. What we're going to see is it's going to give me the specification of saying kilobit, megabit, gigabit. So 2 meg. I've already got it in here. Let me double check that. Do show run. Policy map. So there's parent, there's the 2 meg. Notice it took the M and converted it to the proper number of zeros. That's going to keep you from making a fat finger mistake. So don't forget that. All right, it's very important. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and fix the second configuration. So I want to do here is I want to come up here and say policy map parent spoke 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say shape average. Sorry, class default, shape, average, 1 meg. All right, now let's look at this. Do show, run, policy map. Scroll up. I'm going to, yep. So what we see here is we see parent spoke 1, we have parent spoke 2, we have child and child. But what we don't have is we do not have the mixture. So what I said I wanted to do is I wanted to have 2 meg shaped, but inside the queue I wanted to make certain that I gave it a priority of 512K. That's the reason I created the child configuration saying 512. Now what I need to do is I need to actually put this into my parent policy map. So let's make that happen. Could have done it all at one time, but I want to make certain that you guys understand that if you forget something, you're not dead in the water. So all I'll do is, to keep from making a fat finger mistake, I'm going to come up here and grab these. Class default. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I need to apply a policy inside here. And the way I do it is I use service policy. And my service policy is going to call child dash spoke 1. I highly recommend, guys, anytime you do this kind of stuff, do it copy-paste or do it while you're doing it and make certain that you use the same syntax. So you can mess this up possibly. It's harder in 15 code than it was before, but a simple typo, for instance, if I'd said 2 here, I could have everything up and working and operational, but I don't have the shaping characteristics that I would be seeking. All right, so now what we want to do is modify 2. So let's come up here to policy map parent spoke 2, and what I'm going to say is under the class default, I'm going to say service policy parent, sorry, I'm going to say child spoke 2. Now let's see what we've got going for us. Show, run, service policy. Why do I always do that? Policy map. Okay, now we got something going on. Notice here we have policy map, whoops. We have policy map parent, spoke 1. Under class default, we're shaping to 2 meg, and we're also applying the service policy for child spoke 1. So now I'm going to have 2 meg of shape, and I'm going to be inside that shaping queue providing priority service for the traffic in question, which is going to be ICMP traffic, as we've already specified, inside the policy map for child spoke. Now what we have is we have child spoke 2, shaping to 1 meg, everything in the default class default config. Now the question now is how do we employ this? How do we bring it to bear on our tunnel interfaces? Well, guess what? We're going to have to use IP and HRP commands to make that happen, and this is what it's going to look like. So on our on our hub, we're going to go to interface tunnel 0, and I'm going to type IP NHRP group, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say spoke 1. And then what I'm going to do is under this named group, I'm going to apply my service policy. And my service policy, what am I doing wrong here? Map. There we go. IP NHRP map. What's going on here? Do show run interface tunnel 0. IP NHRP map. Excuse me. It's not going to allow me to specify the group. What did I do wrong? Do show run interface tunnel 0. QOS pre-classifies in place. NHRP map. Sorry, losing my mind. Thanks, Mike. And then what I do is I type spoke 1. Then I specify the service policy, and my service policy for spoke 1 is going to be my parent policy that we created, which is going to be parent spoke 1. Forgot the direction. Out. And then what we'll do is do the same thing for spoke 2. We'll create a group called spoke 2. And then what we'll do is say parent spoke 2. Again, out. Pretty much, that's all there is. I always keep wanting to type IP and HRP. So, sorry. Thanks for catching it, guys. So the command here is going to be it's going to be NHRP map group, not IP. IP designate, the moment I hit IP, it's looking for either a multicast IP address or a IPv4 unicast address. So with that being said, now what we want to do is simply go to our spokes. So we said R4. And on R4, what are we going to do? We're going to go under Interface, Tunnel 0. And I'm going to tell it which group it is in. And here, I think it's NHRP group. And the group that you are in is Spoke 1. We go to 5, do the same thing. NHRP group Spoke 2. Now, with that being done, what we should see here is the fact that when I come into my hub, see what's happening now, show DMVPN detail. And we should, at the bottom of all of this, see our sessions, but we are not. Now, the question becomes, why aren't we seeing our session? Well, anybody have any idea what's missing on the section? What the problem is that we have going on here? Let's take a look at the group map. Show IP NHRP group dash, or no, show IP, show NHRP group map. Do we have the group maps that we wanted? Well, we have Spoke 1, Spoke 2, QoS policy is parent Spoke 1, parent Spoke 2. Transport endpoints using QoS policy is none. Now, what policy is in effect here? So let's go show policy map. And I want to look at it from the point of view of the multi-point. And we don't see anything that's applied. Any ideas what could be the possible problem here? Well, what else are we running here? Show DMVPN detail. We're running crypto sessions. Let's take a look at what's going on. Chief is suggesting the pre-classify on the spoke. Are you saying we left it on, or we left it on, or we didn't put it on? Which is it? Do show run section, or do show run interface tunnel 0. On R4 we got pre-classify. On R5 do show run interface tunnel 0. We have pre-classify. So it's on. Let's take this off. Let's take our encryption off. Still not seeing anything, but right now we don't have all of our connections in place. Let's see if we can't source some traffic. So ping 10, 10, 10, 5. Policies have to be activated. Mike's close. Can I hit 2? Is my tunnel even working? Show run section, or show run interface tunnel 0. So let's see what we got going on here. We got multi-point tunnel, we got our spoke group, we have our OSPF network point-to-point configuration. Are we even running point-to-point on that? Show IP OSPF neighbors. We're peered across the tunnel, so yes we are. So what type of tunnel do we have? Show run interface tunnel 0. Well, we have multi-point here for show run interface tunnel 0. We have multi-point GRE tunnel here. Notice we're using IP NHRP redirects. Is that what's configured on the hub? IP NHRP redirect and shortcuts. So what we see here, we should be in phase 3, right? Double check it on 5. Pre-classify, multi-point, shortcut. So everything should be good to go there, but let's take a look at what's happening on our hub. Show IP OSPF neighbors. We're only peered with 5 and 4 now, but that makes sense because we're not doing anything with regard to a quality of service policy on 6. Did we not remove it there? Show run interface tunnel 0. And we're still running the pre-classification, so we're still running it. So config T, interface tunnel 0. No, we'll just take it off. Go back to 2. Show DMVPN. We got some issues here. So what's going on? So 6, we had a dynamic tunnel. Okay, we're peering now. Let's see what happens. Unknown, unknown. So the question now becomes, what does unknown mean? Let's take a look at what's going on here. Let's take one of my favorite commands, show IP NHRP, just by itself. Now what do we see here? We have type incomplete, we have tunnel, type incomplete. Now here what we're actually learning something, and we're registered using NHOP, so I mean that looks okay for R6. Why isn't R4 and R5 working? Well, let's take a look at what's going on. One more time. Show run interface tunnel 0. See, we've got all of our mappings, that's all good. We haven't changed anything with regard to the IP NHRP network ID. Maybe we just need to play around with it. Let's do this. Let's write and reload. No, let's do this. Interface tunnel 0. Shut. And then no shut. Let's go through all the commands one by one here. IP address. Multicast dynamic, multicast static mappings, multicast dynamic mapping, 2, 4, 5, 6. NHRP redirect, we're running point to multipoint. The output, parent spoke, QOS pre-classify, everything looks right there. Let's take a look at R4. Show run interface tunnel 0. See what we got here. We got shortcut, we got pre-classify. We're not running any type of encryption. And we'll look at R5. Run interface tunnel 0. We have our IP address, we have our mapping, we have our multicast mapping, NHS, shortcut, NHRP group spoke 2 is done. 4 says NHRP group spoke 1, done. Pre-classify. Well, we're not running IPsec. The question Mike's saying is did we take the IPsec off? See, tunnel 0 on R2 is not running IPsec. So that's not going to be our problem. Now what do we see here? We're starting to see some output here. So I means it's an incomplete entry. X tells me that there's no socket. So in other words, I'm not making any type of connection here. Show TCP brief. I have absolutely no configuration going through here. So the question becomes, I mean, were we working before? Yeah, Freddie, that's a really important point. In single hub, we don't have to have the network ID match. Show IP NHRP. Now again, see here's the incomplete. Now, this is a dead giveaway right here, guys. The flag is negative. That tells me that I have a DMVPN misconfiguration. Now, anytime I have this, I know that I've got a problem. Now, the other part here is when I type show IP NRP, you know, we can have, what we'd want to see here would be something like unique registered. So again, I mean, you know, it's a simple config. And this is what I'm trying to prove here. I'm trying to demonstrate the fact that we can get waylaid by simple configurations. Now, if I remove my configs, if I remove the group configs, will the connections come up? Let's try it. I mean, it won't hurt us, right? I mean, this is while we're labbing. Show, run, interface, tunnel, 0. Now, we have these policy maps. Let's go ahead and take those out. Config T, interface, tunnel, 0. No, paste. Control A, no. Let's take that out. Let's go over to R4. And config T, interface tunnel 0, do show run interface tunnel 0. Let's go ahead and take the group name out. No, V, spoke, and on R5, same thing. No, spoke to. Show DMVPN. Static mapping. Going to my hub. Let's go back up to the hub and see what's going on, if anything. Do show run. Interface tunnel 0. All that's off. Do show DMVPN. Still unknown. Interface. Let's see. Do show IP interface brief. Exclude assigned addresses, interface serial 20. I'm going to shut down the main interface. No shut it. And let's see what's going on. Before I screw this up, I'm going to write this. Show DMVPN. We didn't change the spoke configs, Rainer, but we'll take a look at it. Go ahead, show interface tunnel 0. So those are our multicasts. Well, we know they're working because our IGPs are coming up. Do show IP EIGRP neighbors. We're paired with SW2 to R3, which is what we would expect. So on R3, let's just test it real fast. Do or show IP EIGRP neighbors. So we have our 4 peerings. Q counts are good. Autonomous System 1000, so that's everything that we would expect. So let's look on the spoke. So on R4. Do show run interface tunnel 0. We are going to NHS 10.10.10.2. We are using 183.1.232 to reach that. Show IP OSPF neighbors. Well, R4 is not peering. Show IP, EIGRP neighbors, excuse me. There we go. Show DMVPN. Ping 10, 10, 10, 1. No reachability. The tunnel was up. Show run interface tunnel 0. Think maybe it's got something to do with the pre-classify? I mean, we should be running pre-classified just about everywhere, right? Let's take the pre-classify off, see if that changes anything. And 5. Now the point here is we made 0 configurations on R5. The only one that we changed, I'm sorry, on R6, the only one that we changed was our configuration on 4 and 5. Show DMVPN, ping 10, 10, 10, 2. Do we have reachability here? And we don't. So we've wrecked something somewhere. Let's take a look at what's going on. Do show run, interface, tunnel, 0. We've got the redirect. We're operating point to multipoint. Source, GRE. But what's happening is that we can't form a tunnel. Now, do show run, all section. See what we got going on here. See if there's anything hidden in here. Redirects, unreachables, PIM, not worried about any of that. IP, NHRP map, the dynamic is good. Network ID. IP, NHRP record. Send routed. IP cache non-authoritative. Redirect timeout was put on the moment we said that we wanted to operate in redirect mode. IP OSPF timers are all fine. We're not running any IPv6, but notice there's default IPv6 NHRP configs. So there's nothing embedded in there. So let's do this. Let's write it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload, and we'll come back and we'll take a look and see if that clears up our problem. Can I reach the MBMA address from the source interface used on the tunnel interfaces? We can check that real fast. So on R6, oh, hold it. Ping 183.1.23.2, reachable. Ping 34.4, ping 35.5. So we've got reachability from MBMA to MBMA, and that's going to be the sourced addresses to form the tunnel. But the point here is the tunnel doesn't seem to be coming up. Show DMVPN. We have the static mapping. It's going to the right place. So ping 10, 10, 10, 2. I can't reach that because the tunnel doesn't seem to be up. So show IP interface brief. E assign. Let's look at the status of our tunnel. Well, it tells us our tunnel is up. But unfortunately, this doesn't mean much when it comes to, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the way. This doesn't mean much when it comes to bringing things up and actually proving that they're operational. So what I'm going to do is let's see if a restart works. And this will be a good place for me to put a break in. So what I'll do is I'm going to stop the video. I'm merely going to reload. Yes, right here it says up, 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 but we can't ping, so it tells me that it's down. What about the hub side? Sure. Show IP interface brief. E assigned. Up, up. All right, let's reload this. We'll come back the moment the reload's done, and we'll see if that fixes our issue. So I'll see you guys in that part of the video. This is a good place to stop as any. All right, I'll see you guys there.